You are live. Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Bad Boss with Anya Soto. Today I have Ana-Maria here with me. She has 20 years. We were just talking about it behind the scenes. 20 years of experience in international procurement and supply chain as a leader. She is the founder of Green Apple's Career, which I'm so curious about, and we're going to cover today. She's a mentor. She believes in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And why I mentioned her international experience in procurement and supply chain, it's a very male-dominated industry. So I am so excited to welcome to the show, and I want to hear all about it. Like, why DNI? Why Green Apple? So welcome.
Thank you, Anya, for having me. It's a pleasure from California to London. So we are
Yeah.
truly global
Yeah,
already.
we're
Thank
going
you. Thank you.
global. Yes. So tell
Yes.
me, tell me about green apples. Why green apples? How did this idea come to you? How, because I mean, to live a big career, right? International career as a leader is a very courageous step. So I'm just curious, like, what led you to diversity and inclusion work? What was that moment?
Yes. I think I will I will explain two things. The first, what makes me build up my own dream
Mhm.
after being in a safe place, working always for global brands and with global brands like Heineken, Vogue, Kit Kat, Nespresso. And out of a sudden, I realized I had that aha moment. I need to build up my own mentoring hub. And the second, I will explain why green apples, the name, because it's very, I think it's a nice story. Why?
Okay.
Because it was the right time. Why I left the corporate? It was the right time, Anya. After
Mhm.
and it's not unique. People like me who have been always working for corporate, after 2 decades, 3 decades, they leave the corporate and they do something.
Mhm.
It was exhausting to be the exception at the table.
Yeah.
I climbed the career up to leadership positions, as you said, in male dominated functions. Supply chain is male dominated, procurement also male dominated. I loved it. It's just after 2 decades, it was the right time to leave, and it was a moment when
Mhm.
I, together with my team, we felt discriminated during the talent calibration. We were like stuck, and I
Mm.
realized I can't change. I realized, it was, the wise thought, Anna, you cannot change a toxic place as you as Anna.
Person, yeah.
Go focus on yourself
Mm.
and do something which can create a true impact.
I love that.
Uh, yes, so this is when I realized. Actually, I realized I've always mentored people, my team. I got the chance to travel the world, to live in 4 countries, and to build truly diverse teams. Uh,
Yeah.
Diversity of all kinds. I'm truly passionate because it's in my DNA.
Mhm.
Diversity. And the second, why green apples? When I was little, I had a repeated dream, me being in a very bright place, and the only spot of color was green apples in a basket.
That's
And yes, it was, but it was repeated. A repeated dream since childhood. So for me, it was like, okay, my career and mentoring hub will be named Green Apple's Career because it's
I
fresh. Yeah.
yeah, I love it. I love the green. Green is the color, right, of birth and earth. And I also like we just were talking behind the scenes, and I said, is it because of like one bad apple? So I think it's such a cool marketing metaphor that
Yeah,
yes, there are a lot of bad apples in large organizations, and
they
then
are.
you have to constantly seek for those green apples that grow other people, green apples that contribute to their like careers and knowledge and share experiences. So it's almost like how do we seek those green apples and help them amplify the impact? Because because I really loved what you said. You felt, and so many people, clients that we work, they say, well, I can't change it alone. Like nobody's going to listen to me. I can even tell you more. Like we come in as consultants and we say the exact same thing that people have been saying for years, but nobody listened to them. But as consultants, we
Mm.
come in and people are like, oh, yeah, what Anya said, I think we should do that. And employees are like, I've been saying it for 5 years. So that's interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, sometimes you need that non-biased expert to come in and to challenge some ways of working, some behaviors.
Well, the
So I
status
think
quo bias, status quo bias, that's how we've always done it.
yes, exactly. Yes, yeah.
So tell me, I'm curious about, let's talk about mentorship versus sponsorship. We talked a little bit about coaching. What's your definition of mentorship, and why do you see mentorship as the key to creating a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplace?
First, I will tell you a story which I shared with Catherine Matisse in a different show. Um, I've always, in 2 decades, as a leader, I've always been mentored because all these corporations they invest in mentorship programs. And I had amazing mentors because a mentor is someone you look up to, is someone you would like to and aspire to be. Uh,
Mm,
and I've always had amazing mentors. However, there have been throughout my career, there have been so many instances, unfortunately, although I had amazing mentors, uh, looking after me, giving me the wings to, to develop, to progress. I found myself in in very unfortunate situations, like being bullied, being shouted at, being discriminated against my gender and my ethnicity during the calibration talent. So I was like, if I have all these mentors inside a company who look after
mhm,
me, and I see me as a leader, not even as a junior, I'm still facing these toxic behaviors.
yeah.
I was like, what's wrong? So for me, I believe in the power of mentorship, but I still believe that how you change behaviors in a sustainable way is by equipping the people leaders with the right mentoring behaviors and
Mm,
uh, language in order to drive long-term sustainable non-biased mentorship, because
mhm.
sometimes mentorship inside a company is biased. So we need people like us, people like you,
Yeah.
Anya, people like me, experts, to come in and to mentor the executive, the C-suite, and also to mentor the management population. This is how you need to be a good mentor
Yeah.
and how you need to change your own
Yeah.
biases.
Yeah, I believe in it. I agree with you so much. I also love how you see mentorship, because to me, I see mentorship as I've done it, so let me show you how, right? It's like I'm a
Yes,
couple
yes.
of steps ahead of you. So it's like I can like give you shortcuts, I can make introductions to people you need to know.
Mhm.
Where coaching is, there's an interesting piece we talked about, like coaching, and coaching is like, let me teach you how to think, let me coach you like how to arrive at like different ideas. And I think both of them have a place. And you're right that so many people have the desire to mentor and amplify, but they don't have the tools, they don't know how, and often they actually create negative impact versus
Mhm.
positive. An example could be a company does a survey, and the
Mhm.
survey, they ask everybody, do you feel like you belong here? Do you feel like we have an inclusive culture? Do you feel that you're treated fairly? How is your relationship with peers? They get all this feedback, and which gives people an idea. It's like, oh, maybe they'll do something about it. And then nothing happens. And to me,
Mhm.
that's worse than not doing anything, because now you gave a false hope and broke trust of people. And then we also assign internal talent to lead these diversity and inclusion committees with no expertise, no tools, no resources, no support. Like that is a like setting up for failure, right? Is that what
Mhm.
you're
Mhm.
saying?
Yes, and I think we can talk about coaching versus mentorship forever.
Yeah.
People come to me and they call me coach. Although I'm certified as a coach and as a mentor, I
Yeah.
love to be called mentor. You know why? As you said, I want to pass my experience in an
Yeah.
express way to help
Yeah.
people. People face with discrimination. There is a global shift in people are shifting, are looking for jobs, are resigning. I think this is the time for mentorship more than ever.
Yeah.
Because, for example, women, we as a woman in male dominated places, I need equity, more support in order to feel equal to my male colleague. And mentorship
Yeah.
does it because you need quick, smart, sustainable ways like solutions. And yes, mentorship, as a mentor, I equip in an express way quickly. I pass on my experience of 2 decades to
Mhm.
someone who struggles. And I think this is why I believe in the power of mentorship.
Yeah. So tell me, take me a little bit behind the scenes. I'm curious when someone hires you and you go inside organization, where do you start? What do you start looking at? What are some like, I don't know, what data are you looking
Mhm.
for?
First of all, I start with mindset. I talk to the C-suite and to the board of
Mhm.
directors to understand how serious they are, because talking about the diversity, equity, inclusion is not is sensitive. It's not comfortable. So I step in. I get the mandate. I understand how serious they are about me finding and bringing up the facts, and
Yeah.
after that, I conduct one-to-one with people in the organizations. I listen to them. I also calibrate those answers against the annual surveys, because the majority of companies, they do the right things, but they don't know how to change it. And I look, okay, this is how, the pool of people saying this, and this is the annual survey. So what's the gap?
The
What's wrong?
discussion.
So, exactly. And
Mhm.
after that, I start putting EDI, I call it EDI strategy document in 4 steps. And this is my
Yeah.
method. I have a supply chain, very structured mindset. So
Yeah.
I come up with a very thorough process of 4 components for the company to
Mhm.
activate. And I give recommendations depending on, is it discrimination in the performance management? Is it uh, discrimination in the hiring process, non-hiring,
Yeah.
non-inclusive hiring processes? So, and this is, in a nutshell, this is how I do it.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, right? Because I think a lot of people that are gonna watch this show would are asking themselves, it's like, what does engagement look like? Like how, because I know we get asked it all the time when we say we can turn around the toxic culture. Clients come to us and
Mhm.
they say, like, I'll give you an example. There's a last week we had a company from a retail space and they have, okay, we have a location that has 70 employees. There's just one location and people are quitting right and left and we don't know why. And people that have been there for 10, 15 years are quitting. So it's like we always say, give us your worst location, your worst department, and we can turn it around. And similarly to you, right? It starts with
Mhm.
gathering data because we have a lot of assumptions. And
Mhm.
yes, surveys are valuable, but again, people don't know what to ask and then what to do with that data. Like you said, okay, we gathered all this data. 50% said they don't feel included. 50%
Mhm.
said no, they don't have, they're not promoting diverse talent. Now what? What are you going to do with this data? Right?
Exactly.
In
Yes.
anything
Yeah.
We have about 5 minutes left, but I just wanted to like do the time check. I'm curious about if you can share any like top three behaviors. If we have someone right now watching and saying, listen, I like you, I want to create a more inclusive environment. I work for a large corporation. I don't think I can create change, but as a human being, as a leader, I want to be a better mentor. What are some like behaviors that they can start, I don't know, incorporating into their leadership?
First of all, for me, it's all about courage because you can't change anything without having courage. Courage to look in the mirror at yourself and understand, okay, am I being biased now in this situation because this person or this situation reminds me of something from
Yeah,
childhood, for example?
yeah.
Where you understand. So, courage, first of all, courage towards ourselves to
Mhm.
change, to, like Michael Jackson said, and this is what I love, man in the mirror. The change starts with yourself first. So the moment you are being honest and you understand, actually I'm doing great, I'm displaying the company behaviors. However, I face with this situation, have the courage then to display the intellectual courage, like challenge your manager, challenge your seniors, challenge practices, challenge HR in a nice way, in a constructive way. So I think it's courage to look at yourself and the mindset, because if you come from a mindset it's me against them, this is confrontational, this is not the right mindset.
Mm,
um, yes, and this is itself, it's continuous personal development, I
yeah.
think. And this is how I succeeded in male dominated function, in working for global brands as a woman with ethnic minority. I was really good at challenging my own biases and adapting quickly. I think adapting is also another
Yeah.
behavior.
Yeah. Oh, I love so much goodness. I'm gonna start with like looking at yourself in the mirror and asking like, why do I want to mentor? Right? Like you said, is it my own trauma? Is it my own triggers? Is it my own ego? Or
Yes.
do I actually want to be of service? And I think that's the piece. It always, I don't know, in my own life, and I'm curious how you feel. I am always more courageous for other people than myself. I just feel like for myself, sometimes I don't speak up. But if I see other people being discriminated against or not treated well, I feel like that gives me so much courage to advocate because I know why. I'm so clear on why.
But
Yeah.
it's
Are you?
it's interesting. It's interesting you are saying you are not courageous when it comes to you, because the way you project yourself, from what I've seen you on LinkedIn, you come across as being so courageous, and it's like, ah, wow, Anya is as courageous as I am, because I love courageous people. um
Yeah.
I think I was
But I think
I
it's
was
driven.
yeah.
Driven. Sorry, I think it's driven. My courage is driven by my mission to change work environments. Like it's not driven by like I'm just gonna be like brave today. I am like so
Mhm.
committed to say like we can have a good workplace. We can care about each other. We can change it. And I think that's my courage. But it's always like for other people.
There are four types of courage. If I allow you to mentor you now, four
Yes,
four
please.
types of four types of courage. The one you are talking about is the moral courage. You have the drive to stand up for
Mhm.
others, for equity, for diversity. The second is intellectual courage. Challenge the old patterns, because when you go into an organization, you will find out something and you will tell the managers, guys, it's not working. So you
Yeah.
need the courage,
I
the
love that.
inte- exactly, it's intellectual courage to change, to challenge the old patterns. Number three, it's disciplined. Do you have the discipline, the courage to consistently to show
Mm.
consistent behaviors, um, and also to stay resilient, because there will be people who will try to crush you throughout this
Yeah.
journey. Eh? Exactly. So this is
Oh,
like
yeah.
being like courage to stay disciplined. And the number four
Mm,
is empathetic courage, um, acknowledging own personal, and own biases, as I said before.
mm. Wow, I've never heard
Yeah.
of courage in those ways. That's so interesting. I love that. At the end of our show, I'm like, that is so interesting. I love that.
Yes.
Well, thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you for sharing why diversity and inclusion, your story, why green apples. Hopefully, yeah, please reach out to Anna and speak with her, because I my experience is such that you can't just expect your own employees to run their own diversity and inclusion committee without mentorship, without consultants, without like tools. So I am so happy. Thank you for sharing. I love going global. I think you're my first guest from Europe on this show. So I'm going to expand it because it's so interesting to see the work is it's the same. Human beings are human beings, but the market is different and structures are different, right? You have also legacy organizations that we're trying to change, and they're like, no, we've been doing it for 100 years, we're successful, we're profitable. Why? Right?
Yes, 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 you're right. And the organizations, for example, are asking me, Anna, can you pull together like a mentorship for women? And this is coming as a recurrent theme here in Europe, in London, where I'm based.
Yeah.
Two organizations, small ones that I'm working with, and they can't attract and retain women um, in leadership. So they leave by the moment they get, and they try to to implement this mentorship for women in order to create the equity and the support for women to get
Yeah.
promoted.
Well, I'll also say that women need men with power,
Mm,
influence, and resources. We can get together as a group of women all day long. But if we don't have men who are
yes.
committed to promoting us and giving us opportunities and giving us visibility and trusting in our talents, we're not going to be successful. I think I'm going to end with, I think it was Barack Obama who said at the White House, they need to have at least three women at the table for women to be heard.
Exactly, it's the critical mass 30%. So at least 30% of any type of diversity in order to create an impact. Yes, yeah.
There we go. We're going to end it with here. Thank you so
Yes.
much. I really appreciate it. Guys, please leave comments, tag me, tag Anna. There will be a recording that we'll share. And yeah, let's collectively create better workplaces.
Yes, yes. Thank you for having me. And yes, connect with us. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.